Hello everyone, I am Lucy James and welcome to a very special developer stream today. We are talking with the folks from Wolfeye Studios about the upcoming Weird West. And not only that, not only are we talking to the fantastic minds behind the game, we're going to get a look at some gameplay and a live music performance. I'm just here chairing the whole thing. If you have questions that you would like to put to the team, make sure to drop them in the Twitch chat and we will get them in front of the team. So let's introduce who we've got with us today. Creative Director on Weird West, Raf Colantonio. Raf, thank you so much for being here. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing great, thank you. And I hope we have tons of fun today. I'm here as well with Matt.
Hi, nice to see you all.
I was going to say, and joining you as well, one of the other musical guests and composer and sound designer at Wolfeye is Matt Piersall. Thank you so much. Are you excited for today?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes, we are.
Can't wait. And also we have lead systems designer Gael Giraudeau. Gael, welcome.
Hi everyone, glad to be here.
You also have the tough job of being the driver, so all the gameplay. It's real time. It is live gameplay. It is a work in progress build, so bear that in mind. There will be bugs and stuff, but we are going to be not judging, but we were going to be watching your gameplay, making sure that you show off the game in the best light. So very excited to see more. But before we take a look at the game, let's talk a little bit about how Weird West came about, how Wolfeye even came around. So Raf, people know you predominantly from all your work at Arcane, working on games like Dishonored and Prey. You were there for a number of years. What set you off to wanting to start something new with Wolfeye?
Well, I think everything at some point, there are phases in life, and I've had a blast, of course, with Arcane, seeing it grow over 18 years since '99 when I started it back then. And then I had the need to go on a different adventure. After 18 years, anything would sound pretty long. So my friend Julien, who was also at Arcane a few years before, he was with me since Arx Fatalis. So he joined Arcane in 2000, and he just started something and asked me if I was interested, and I was like, yeah, let's talk about it. So that's how it happened. We both wanted to explore, still go deeper into immersive sims, but maybe with a different perspective, and also a smaller team, so that it would be, different. Like we can go deeper in some areas, and it would be fun. That was the idea. It's just have fun. And of course, it's never fun. It's like super hard. We fooled ourselves more.
Is it easy now working with a smaller team?
No. It's harder. No, I mean, more seriously, of course, it has some great benefits. Like, we know each other very well. There's a lot of former Arcane people. There's a lot of new people that are great as well. And so, when you really pick and choose people, it's amazing. But of course, we're doing a big game. So making a big game with less people, and of course, we've had to go through the pandemic, so that has added another layer of difficulty that everybody can understand, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's probably our biggest game, frankly.
That's incredible. Your biggest game, but with your smallest team. Now, Gael, you also used to work at Arcane. What was it about? Before you came over, did you even know anything? Well, we are very sorry about that. We're having a couple tech issues on this end, but it's a live stream. We're all working from home. We're doing the best we can. It's going to be a good time still. So Gael, I'm not sure when the audio cut out previously, but I will come back to you. What made you want to work at Wolfeye? What was it about Weird West that really excited you?
First, I worked at Arcane, a long time ago, like more than 10 years. And to be really honest, I wanted to go back to work with these guys. before knowing about their project. Because when I was at Arcane, I discovered that philosophy of the immersive sim, making coherent worlds, and I discovered some great design, world where we have structures, complicated structures, systemic stuff happening, and I loved it. And I made a pause actually in my game designer career, and 10 years after, I just contacted them through simple message, and it was the good time. So I mean, I was lucky and very happy to work with them again. It's a great team, great friends as well.
And Raf, what is kind of the philosophy behind Wolfeye? What is it that you are bringing to the games that you're making, in particular Weird West?
Yeah, so I think we create experiences where there are deep world to explore and a lot of systems to experiment with, leading to players feeling like they are having a unique experience that is actually making them travel somewhere that feels real, but it's not, right? And so those are big words, but like the reason why I'm saying that is that there are the simulation aspect of the game. So it's not just a representation itself, but the amount of things that you can do, all the objects that interact in ways together, and you as a player being able to not only explore a world, witness what the characters of this world are experiencing and being part of the stories, but as well having a chance to influence that with all those tools and just moving objects around, like as simple as moving an object around, it will do something in the game, or doing things that are more elaborate, like combining stuff or whatever, or using some interesting powers. At the end, what we want is players that feel like they've traveled into a world where they had their own experience nobody else did. But nobody else in the same way anyway, because every time you play, it's a little different.
I mean, even I've watched a little bit of the gameplay. I'm really excited to watch some more of it today and talk to you more about it. But the fact that, you can interact with pretty much everything, the fact that this is all persistent across the playthroughs that you go through with the different characters. Gael, how are you doing? Because that sounds so complicated as a systems designer.
Yeah, it's really complicated. Of course, it's way easier to do corridors with fake walls aside and just like popping enemies triggered directly in combat when you get through a specific area. Of course, it is. But it's a complicated development, really. And when things are shaping up at the end, it really creates magic. And it comes late, of course, because for a long time all those systems are sometimes breaking, sometimes not working together, and you didn't thought about this with this. So it's like oh my god, how we are going to make this all coherent, not break the game each time the player wants to experience it. But we know this is our philosophy, this is the structure we want, and we want to provide that to our players. That's it. So we make it.
Awesome. Now, before we, so we're going to watch a trailer and we're going to get into the gameplay. Raf, if you had to kind of give the top line pitch explaining what exactly Weird West is, how would you describe it?
Yeah, very simply, Weird West is an action RPG set in a fantasy version of the Wild West.
Perfect. So succinct as well. Yeah. Right then. Shall we get into it? And remember, so across the stream, if you have any questions for the team at Wolfeye, drop them in the chat and we will ask them as we're playing. And at the end, we're going to have this big Q&A session. And after that, we're also going to have live music from Weird Wolves and Choose Health. So you don't want to miss it. Make sure you stick around. And with that being said, let's check out the new trailer.
West's full of tall tales. Strangeness, oddity, evil. But the West, it's also got heroes of a kind. A bounty hunter thought she could hang up her shooting irons for good. Thought wrong. A pig man, cursed. A monster in the eyes of his fellow man. But a monster with a past. His land's got guardians. Come west tracking an evil wind across the plains. Liable to find it. It's got cowboys, drunk on the moon, trapped in a war for the heart of the West. It's got future seers, set to change what's coming before the sun sets. You see, you five, you're tied together. A purpose deeper than you know. The more you dig, the stranger it gets.
Okay,
right.
so.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, so here it is, guys. So now we are going to show you a glimpse of the beginning of the game, about 30 minutes. So it is an in-progress build. Systemic things can happen, so I'll try to do my best. Here we go.
Yes, the game is not fully polished, so there will be bugs probably or weird things happening.
Used to be you were one of the most feared bounty hunters in all the West. But you gave that up. Buried your irons. Traded them for a normal life. Tonight, though, that's all gonna change. Destiny's calling. And it ain't taking no for an answer. Smell of gunpowder. Your son dead in the dirt outside. And a burning at your neck. Like you've been branded with a cattle iron.
Alright, so this is the beginning of the game. And this is the first journey out of 5. So you actually are going to play 5 different heroes. This is the bounty hunter journey. And you wake up to, unfortunately, your family that has been abducted and some killed. And the sheriff is there investigating, and she's waiting for you so that she can talk to you. Gael is showing how much interaction you can see in the game. Like, you just open the window, you see a chair, you can sit on it, you can kick the chair, lift it, throw it away. It will generate sound. I mean, all of things are part of the simulation, and a sound would actually be heard by a character, so it can provide a distraction. It can loot a lot of things. If you see something that seems like it's interactive, it probably is. This is Sheriff Albright. What happened here is that there's a gang called the Stillwaters that have created havoc in the region, and she's here because she managed to capture one of them. So she reminds you that you're a bounty hunter because you've given up your career, but your gun is still hidden under the tree, and she wants you to join her in the nearby town called Grackle so that you can conduct the interrogation.
So, I mean, obviously the game at this point is kind of encouraging you to grab your irons and try and follow the plot along. But I guess it being a kind of immersive sim action game, you could just do whatever you want. So I could, at this point, I could kill the sheriff. I could...
That's right. You can pretty much kill anyone you want and decide that you're not going to be the good player that follows the rules. Mm-hmm. And if so, the game should fall back on its feet. Because everything exists without the player doing things, right? It's not like we spawn a key once you've talked to the sheriff. Like, if the sheriff has a key, it's on her body. So then, yeah, you could kill the sheriff, get the key. Now, you would make your own experience a little difficult, because if you were to do that, it means basically you're asking the game to stop helping you. Like all those markers that you see, things would be a little more complex than that. But you can still decide, you know what, I'm going to go out of this farm and do other things that have nothing to do with what they ask me, and still eventually manage to beat the game by just going through the things you have to do. So wanted to talk about the fact that this is an action RPG a little bit, because now it makes more sense in context of seeing the demo. It's an RPG because the structure, it's an open structure. You can visit a lot of locations in very non-linear ways. You can, as you see here, like there are multiple ways in. There's doors and windows. There's verticality, and there are quests and side quests and items to collect, etc. But there's close to no stats. The dialogue is very simple, so you don't have to read tons of stuff. And everything is real time. There's no turn-based combat, so it's all driven by the action. That's why it's an action RPG, and all of this sits on a strong layer of simulation. Like all the systems interact with each other in ways that create interesting situations. So here we go. We found the gun.
Matches your palm exactly. All blue. Been a while.
So it's the Wild West. You have a gun. That kind of makes sense.
Of course. Could you play this as a complete pacifist run?
You could almost play it as a pacifist run. There are some people that you have to take down. We haven't done a non-lethal playthrough in that sense. But you can really limit how many people you kill. If you wanted, you could be. And in fact, there is a stat for that. We account for how many people you've killed. So if your goal is to kill as least people as possible, yet finishing the game, it's a thing. You can also kill absolutely everyone. That's the other thing. Like absolutely all quest givers, anything. Here, Gael is trying to do something where like he throw the bottle in the air and shoot at the bottle. This is what is possible with our systems in general, right? And that's why we like emergent gameplay, is because you come up with system like a very flexible aiming system. Instead of being a system that auto aims at things, we actually let you aim at anything you want, even though there's verticality. So in a third-person view like that, it was pretty tricky to find that. But at the same time, you can combine things such as throwing something in the air and then shooting at it to make some sort of to create your own tactic, basically. And here Gael is showing some of the elemental gameplay, so it's more simulation stuff, where if you have water, if you have fire, you can do things like dousing fire with water, sorry. And of course, since the barrels was flying in the water, in the fire, then it got lit on the way.
I was gonna say, it really just seems like, I mean, certainly at this point, you're definitely just showing off that if there is something in the world, you can interact with it, and it will behave the way that you want it to as a player. I can't even tell you how many times I've played a game where I have looked at something in the environment and gone, I should be able to interact with that, and then I can't, and it's disappointing. So I'm really intrigued to see just how much of this world I can mess around it.
Yeah. Hopefully that's exactly what the players will get, right? It's an experience where they can test the boundaries of a game that is pretty flexible.
Okay, so we've got like a fog of war here. How is the kind of map of the world set out? Is it all kind of small mini hubs that you travel to like this, and then they all and
yeah.
Do I have to go linear, or can I just
So you could visit pretty much anywhere in this map, and it's it's like a 90s. It's a Fallout 1 type of travel map where you just click where you want to go, and on the way you might have encounters like this. This one is a forced encounter because it's still part of the tutorial. It's at the beginning of the game, but then you have random stuff happening to you, some good, some bad, and and you can pretty much go, decide you're just gonna go on a tangent and not follow the markers.
Yeah.
Oh, lucky with this power camp and dynamite then. Okay. Ooh.
Oh, very good. We've got the slow-mo death cam. Is there a limit to how much you can carry?
There is. I'm sorry. I know, right?
I can't believe you've done this.
Yeah, I know.
Oh.
There's a limit. I mean, we gotta limit it somehow, right? Weight or size. And it's all part of like, hopefully, we're still tuning the game, but the goal here is that there's a good vibe of survival as well, where health and bullets and all that is pretty limited. So we kind of encourage you to explore, scavenge everything you can, repurpose things. Like here is cooking. because he found some raw meat on the, I don't know, you know, everything went so fast, I'm not sure if people realize, but so basically he found some raw meat on the coyotes, and so he cooks that and gets some health back.
And obviously, you were mentioning that everything is persistent across the playthroughs with different characters. So at this point, if I just dropped something, that would still be there when I came through with my next character?
Yes, things stay around, and so yeah, you could, for your next character, for example, place some stuff in a chest.
Okay, let's go to Grackle then to talk to the sheriff.
Let's do that.
Panic in the air. Folks hollered. Death and dirt.
So I noticed there that it said that the character was, it's raining, character's clothes are wet. Does that have any implication for gameplay, or is that just kind of a status effect to let you know?
It does, actually. You know, we talked about the elemental gameplay a minute ago, and if it's raining, then things are wet. A little bit like in the style of Divinity Original Sin, where something is wet, you can't use fire on it, for example, right? So the environment and the weather might influence your tactic or your combat and your experience in general.
Okay, so before talking to the sheriff, I will explore a little bit. Every building in the game is, of course, explorable. There is no fake buildings or whatever. So I'll try to get some stuff here, some loot maybe, after the fights with the Stillwaters. Oh, actually, 2 lockpicks. Lucky.
Very good. Always useful.
Oh. All right. And there's probably the option of showing you verticality as well.
Ah. So I could just climb on anything? No restrictions?
Yeah, you can climb on anything that it's based on metrics. So if the geometry is there for you to climb, and it would work as long as it's climbable, like in the sense of like the height is right. We don't put any fake blocking volumes or anything like that.
Ooh. One thing I was going to ask, and obviously it came to my mind there just because you were climbing all over buildings, and usually a lot of games would kind of try and prevent the players doing that, but obviously Dishonored and Prey, other immersive sims, even Bioshock, which is kind of a lighter immersive sim, but they have these big speed running communities, and throughout development, have you thought about ways that people will kind of, you have these really intricate, I was gonna say, you've got these intricate systems, but there's, there is that community who wants to break those.
Oh, they're gonna murder it. They're gonna finish it in 57 seconds.
For sure.
Yeah, because that's the thing, is like there's those highly systemic games, if you find a way to exploit some situations, which is desirable, that's what we want, that's why they bring so many cool emergent situations. You can also pretty much win them fairly, once you really know the systems. But that's kind of cool. I don't think they will finish it in 57 seconds the first time they play it.
No.
So here are I got a relic in the building, and relic lets you buy some cool abilities specific to characters, to weapons. So here I'm gonna take Thunder Hammer, which allow me to quickly empty my magazine in combat like this.
Oh, nice.
Okay, so will be useful in a minute, I guess.
I was gonna say, because it's all been very not weird up until this point. I've been waiting for the occult to kind of creep in, and so relics.
It's coming. But we wanted actually there's a ghost here, which is not really supposed to be. It's kind of weird. Like
systemic stuff we have to control.
We have to tune those things. But anyway, we wanted a beginning that would be very easy to get in, like familiar. It starts with really pretty much the Wild West in a fairly familiar way, and then it goes deeper into the weird.
Well, yeah, because it subverts your expectations in a way, because you're presented with something that's familiar and comfortable, and then it's just a ghost sitting around outside.
Yeah. So here is the the gang member, the Stillwater. Here, what happens is that you can conduct the interrogation both ways, either violent by breaking fingers or more gentle and reassuring. Either way, at the end, you'll find out that his gang is working for a set of creatures called the Sirens. And the Sirens eat people. So they disguise as humans, but they actually turn into those beasts. So that's where you know that your spouse is probably somewhere locked in a cage, being ready to be eaten.
Can I kill him? For revenge?
Don't know if you want risks or not. It'll be on you, man.
Oh, so you got a reputation system as well. Could you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so Gael surprised me on this one. Thank you. Yeah, so reputation will, first of all, yeah, the sheriff responded to you killing the prisoner, but it's okay to do it because after all, he was a bad guy in this case. But anyway, reputation goes up and down based on things you do, and it will have effects on who you can recruit, because at some point you can recruit people that follow you around and will help you in combat. And it also affects prices in stores, for example, or global response from characters to you.
Okay, now let's go to the Stillwater Hideout. And for the purpose of the demo, we are going to skip the next location where you need to find the tracks of the Stillwaters. But as the world will stay coherent, if the player exploring the world randomly come into the hideout location, then the game will know it and will not force him to go back to mission 2, then mission 3. If you find it, then you can directly go through it. So I'm gonna try to do that. Oh, traveling merchants. I'm going to avoid this for the demo. And as I'm a developer, I know the location, so should be able to find it, hopefully. Should be near here. Okay, Greenwood Run. Let's go.
Yeah, so technically you could go to the very last location of the game and probably find ways to finish it quicker, but you still have to do a few stuff. So I want to know I want to see the fast playthrough, the speed playthrough. That would be interesting.
Raf, you mentioned earlier that they, because obviously you're playing through the game with 5 different characters. When it comes to the amount of dialogue in the game, it's maybe less than in others. Could you talk about the decision to do that?
Yeah, some of it is, some of it is a matter of taste. Like I've enjoyed games with tons of dialogue, but this one, the experience we wanted to provide was something that was a little lighter on the dialogue and more on the what you do actually. So it's not about like trying to find all the options, etc. of the dialogue, but it's more about knowing what you have to do, like in a concise way, which is a little more digestible.
Gotcha.
You still have choices sometimes, but those are usually choices that will matter, not just flavor.
Yeah, I love that jump.
Okay, so let me go the brutal way first in the camp.
Yeah, Gael is going to this very direct way, which is one way.
This is the hardest way to keep it.
Yeah.
So here are a lot of guys on the minimap. I will try to use the ammo box. So either I can take it for my gun, and probably if I kick it and shoot at it, it will create the traps. So here a guy here. Maybe I will attract him like this. And get the ammo burning. Okay, he escapes. So
he ran away. He ran away like a coward. That wasn't on
Okay,
you. That
I'll
was
try
on
to get
him.
it. Ooh, dynamite. Okay.
Gael is such a gamer artist.
So yeah, the brutal way is quite hard. You have to take the right abilities. You have to, planify as well. So now I'm going to take another save in front of the camp, and we're going to try the stealth way. Try to explore a little bit, and see how it goes.
So do those relics lock you into those powers, or can you swap them around?
No, we like to commit.
Okay. So let's go. A second time now.
All right.
So we'll just skip the cinematic. And it's daytime, so I need to be careful here. Just look around. So there are lots of things to explore in Weird West. Find clues about the lore of the world, but also about your objective. I'll try first to follow this one that is exiting the camp. I can.
Believe in you. You've got this.
This is the stressing part of the demo, right? You don't want to fail. There is another one here in the barn. Okay, let's go. All right. Okay.
We believe in you, Gael.
I'll try.
You got this.
I'll try, okay. Let's take these first, I guess.
Oh, yes, get the machete. Absolutely.
All right. Let's try to stealth kill this one. Smoking here was probably a bad idea.
Yeah. Very good. All done.
Okay. He's not always doing that, by the way, so you will have as well some randomness, since to be alerted all the time you have to be concentrated. And here, pretty lucky actually, as I have a big dynamite, which is a powerful one. Try to save it for combat if necessary.
Most importantly, he did have a pasty on him, which, as a British person, I'm very, very approving of.
Oh.
Ah, what do we have here?
Another relic. Right.
Lovely.
Okay, so we'll just choose another ability, and this time I think I will show you the charge, probably with the blade, which is useful in combat, but as well in stealth, to do quick stealth skills.
But when you go through the game again as a different character, do you keep and maintain those abilities, or do you start again fresh?
So there's two way. I mean, like, I'm not sure if you're talking about the next journey, because then in this case you will start with a different character. It's in the same world though. So yeah, in this case you start fresh on the abilities, but you still have your perks. The perks are common to the entire playthrough, whereas the abilities are per character.
Perfect.
Okay. So now I decided to wait a couple of hours as the night will go on. Will facilitate my stealth approach. And also I will use the mechanics to create my own way to enter the camp. You probably have noticed other ways to do it. So I will try to be as stealthy as possible.
Very good.
All
So I
right.
see all the enemies have a cone of vision. Do they have a cone of sound? If you're kind of creeping in, are they guaranteed not to hear you? Oh, that was very good.
Yep.
Yeah,
you,
this,
you heard it. You heard it. Okay, sorry.
They hear you, yes.
Yeah, they hear you. Yeah. Okay.
Or gunshots or suspicious sounds.
Okay. I hope it's gonna be okay.
Yeah,
He
he's
will.
looking
He will search a bit. Yes. All right.
Thinking about it. Yeah, he's gone.
Nothing more. That's fine. This is a new gun, which is pretty cool, pretty fast. Lots of bullets, but I will keep mine for now for the perk I took. So, as you may have noticed, there is no objective icon all the way. You have to find your husband, and you have to explore and find clues. Obviously here, the well could help me. And if you search in the camp, you will discover that you need to go underground on a weird cellar. And you have other ways to get into this cellar. This is just one of the ways to do it. So now I need a rope. I don't have. So we'll explore a little bit.
Ooh.
Okay. Okay, this one. Okay, there. This one is annoying me, right? Actually, I try to get in this small house. Maybe here. Okay,
There
maybe
you go.
now. Maybe now. Oh no, there is the other one. Okay. All right. I'd like this one to get out. Maybe.
Is there
You throw
anything
something?
nearby that you could throw?
Maybe. Okay, he's leaving. Okay, maybe I will wait for that.
Oh, he's,
Oh,
yeah.
there is another one. Okay, I
Ooh,
will try
grab-
this. Oops.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay, let's go. Let's try.
go.
Okay, thank you very much. All right. So I'll wait things to find, of course, and a golden ace here, which will allow me to buy some perks, and these will be permanent through all the journeys you will explore in the game, so you better have to choose wisely. And I have 2 lockpick. I will probably take the locksmith perk to try to save them. A rope. Right. Nothing here. Maybe some ammo here. Right. All right. And a prisoner's cage key, which is cool. Okay, now I need to get out, which is not an easy task. Oops. Not. Nobody.
Just the wind.
Okay, let's go. All right.
Very well done.
So I will use that well to go deeper.
Are there any limits on the number of certain items you can carry? Like, could I just be the rope lady who just carries around 10?
I think there's a limit per type of object, and then there's a limit of inventory size in general. But you could probably carry a lot of ropes. Is that really your thing?
I'll just spelunk my way through the whole game, breaking in windows and going down ropes.
Yeah. So actually, lucky me, I got the key. But if I had lockpicks, I could also lockpick it. Amulet of Russian blood. But this is random, of course. On critical hits, regain a small amount of health, which is pretty cool.
Very nice.
Let's equip it. All right. Okay. So there are multiple doors in the game, of course. This one is reinforced. The breakable ones easily are the wooden doors. But this one I cannot definitely with bullets, so I'll try to get some dynamites. Oh my god, what is it doing here? Alright, let's thunder hammering me.
I was gonna say, how's the stealth going? Because we just ran into that guy.
Alright. Oh, a shotgun. That's cool.
Ooh.
So we'll need to find some dynamites because I want to save the big one for the fights. If I have some fights. Let's take the ammo. There it is, dynamite. Oh, another one. Alright. Okay. Let's try to explode this one. So the same, you were talking about the rain and the water in general. I better aim well because the dynamite will lit off if it's raining or in the water. So it can change completely the way you approach a situation. Now let's break this one. Oh my god.
And we're in.
Yeah. It's not finished yet. Okay. I'll try to. All right.
Okay. What is that green?
It's some poison, and mixed with fire, it will create some explosions
Lovely.
like this.
Yeah.
So you can combine them. Try to get the loot without burning, right?
I was gonna say you are oiled currently, so that could end very badly for you.
Yeah, if I get some fire on me, I will take high damage, and oil are also slowing down people, so you can use it at your advantage for very fast enemies. But we will not talk about that today, I guess. Okay, there was one here. Another one, 2, 1. Okay, so I'll probably use the big dynamite here to try to get them both at the same time, maybe. All right. Now let's take the gun.
Nice. Oh,
Okay.
and the bullet time.
And it was in fire, so that's cool. It will roll to extinguish the fire, so it's not dead anymore. Okay. Oh, some health could be.
You get a
Oh, I got him. All right.
very good. I was gonna say where you get a crit, a critical hit, get some health back.
Some armor. Some bullets. I could have used this shotgun, actually. And some money.
There we go.
All right. So instead of finding your husband here, you find another prisoner that will give you some crucial information if you save him, of course. And if you free him, he will give you the code of the safe near here. Hopefully I got the key. And I'll be able to take this safe now. Oh, there is this one.
There you go.
Now our reputation is back to normal, I guess. Down 15, up 10.
Oof.
Yeah.
All right, I bet again as well, so that's cool. All right, $50. Let's take it.
Your husband's name's written on the relay in pencil, but the message itself's encrypted. You'll need to show it to a relay clerk. They'll know how to parse it.
Okay, and I think that's it. I think we're gonna stop here. I hope you guys liked it and ready to answer some questions, I guess.
Yeah, awesome. And I mean, so we've been fielding questions from Twitter, from Facebook, obviously in the Twitch chat if you're watching along live. Put your questions in there and we will, well, I will put them to the team at Wolfeye. So I should also talk a little bit about what we've got coming up. After the Q&A section, we're going to be having a live music performance from Weird Wolves as well as Choose Health. And these are songs that are actually from the game itself. If you were watching kind of the preamble in the lead up to the stream, you might have heard some of them. So please stick around for that. But first, we're going to have a lengthy Q&A session. Gael, I've got to say, very well done. Very skillfully played there.
Thanks a lot.
Very impressed. So let me grab some of the questions that we've had. So this is from Facebook from Balash, who says, why did you decide to go for the isometric perspective? Earlier it was full top down. Why not third person or even first person shooter? And will this have any effect on immersion?
All right, so that's a question about the choice of the perspective. So I can tell you the long version or the short version. I'm going to start with the long version. So Julien and I, Julien is not here today, but because he's in Australia and he's probably asleep if everything is normal for him. We both were big fans of two games from our childhood. One was Ultima Underworld, one was Ultima 7. And Ultima Underworld is kind of like the grandfather of immersive sims. And Ultima 7 is pretty much there too, but it's in a different kind of perspective. And so at Arcane back then, we would make the games that would follow the Underworld thing, And so it would, like the same way Looking Glass, after that they did Thief and more games in System Shock. And for us, it was, and Harvey Smith did Deus Ex, and then he joined us, and we did Dishonored, Prey and all that, and all those were first person. But personally, as much as I've really, really enjoyed making first person, and I probably will again at some point, I had this itch for a long time, and so did Julien, of going more like the top-down ISO third person thing. where you have a party, where you can actually explore the world in a different perspective, have a more tactical view on things, and see the globality of the scene before making a decision. And again, childhood memories from Ultima 7. And you know how anything you love when you're a kid just stays with you no matter what. You might try to get rid of it, but it just stays. That's why people still, when they're 30, they still eat Pop-Tarts. So so there you go. That's the long answer. We just wanted to do it.
I mean, Gael, for you, what difference does it make being in a more isometric third person as compared to being in first?
I think for regarding immersive sim, I think it's as Raf says, it's more than a genre. It's a family of games, and you can have like immersive sim in first person and third person. The third person brings you some more strategical overview, and you don't play directly your character. You're just on top of it, and it has some for people negative ways that maybe you can say it's less immersive in your own hero, but in other ways it brings you some cool stuff to show to the player before he actually gets to see it with the character. So you can put some glimpse of like intriguing stuff to intrigue the player and get him to explore in some ways that he may miss in first person. So it's totally different. And in combat as well, you have a better vision. So looks like in the Weird West, when you are a bounty hunter fighting 5-6 guys, it's always cool slow-mowing, using your ability to have this overview to get some crazy combo and your own playstyle.
So from Twitter now, this is from I Like Some Games. I like some games. Hopefully they like this one. What advantages and disadvantages does the top-down perspective bring, and how did you tackle the problems? So we talked a little bit about the advantages there, but
there's probably some audio problems with that, right?
Yeah, I think the most difficult thing about the audio for an immersive sim with what I call the God camera is you have God ears in this case, right? But you're trying to tell a story that's like really personal to the player. And I think one of the disadvantages is like when you're in first person, it's really easy to tell a sound story because just based on how game audio works, it just naturally is more personal. But when you're above and you can hear and see everything before you, like what Gael was doing when he was playing, pulling off those wild moves and things like this, like these kinds of things, I don't know, they really, that's something that would be much easier to sort of author in first person, but in third person, it's like, or not third person, but the God camera, it's like much more difficult to control. So it's a lot more wild experience. So you really have to make sure your, what is it, eyes are dotted? Is that a thing? Are people still saying this?
Oh, cross the T,
yeah, that's the one.
Eyes, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
And there's been a huge challenge on the aiming system, by the way, like way bigger than we anticipated. As we just went in there super naive, thinking that it's kind of a top-down view, kind of, not quite, but kind of, and we're just going to borrow the systems of twin-stick shooters. It's kind of like where we started, and we forgot one little detail is that in our world there's verticality. It's not like everything is flat, like every twin-stick shooters. And it's not about having a 3D camera in twin-stick shooters, because like I want someone to show me a twin-stick shooter with verticality, not just in 3D. That doesn't mean anything. You can have a 3D camera, but like with a 2D gameplay. We have a 3D camera with a 3D gameplay, and suddenly aiming in a twin-stick way becomes like really interesting. So we had to we actually spent a lot of time finding the little tricks to get through that problem. So so that was a challenge. For having that view.
And in addition to that, we wanted the player to be able to aim at nearly anything. So it's not just enemies and traps we've put perfectly in place for you to just get the guy down. It's also if you want to hit a barrel, a chicken, popcorn bullets on the ground to trigger a trap, you can do it. So it becomes a real hard challenge, but.
I was gonna say, I guess I never even considered that the kind of twin stick shooterness of it would be that much of a challenge. But hearing you explain it, What have you done on the dev side to kind of help players? Because some of the things in the environment are very small, like the small packs of bullets. Is there any kind of snapping on or stickiness that will help them out there?
See, I'm glad that you did not think of it either, because now I feel less stupid, because I did not as well.
You said it, and I was like, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, but that makes a lot of sense once you know it, and we did not know it going in. So it's the same thing, So I feel better now. But anyway, yeah, things with well, I mean, first of all, there is the question of, if something is not on your plane and you're moving your joystick around, how do we know that you're actually aiming at the thing down, right? So that alone was like a kind of like a complex problem that we first tried to tackle with complex mathematical stuff that never really worked. And also there's another thing about that, is that it's a little bit like an iPhone. You don't want to guess the autocorrect of iPhone, right? If it's wrong one time out of 100, it's still annoying. You will still like go mad because that thing went wrong. So you can't quite use the predictability as an idea. So we had to have like a very consistent, always works the same kind of thing, with a few overrides, a few more rules, like just because explosives are more important than probably non-explosive. So like, okay, well, in this case, let's make a priority. But we really have not many priorities, not many guessing games. It's just like a consistent system. And a lot of it was, and then I'll let Gael add to that, but a lot of it was to teach the player how to use that system, because to teach the player that they have to push the joypad or the joystick all the way, and so we had to add a little cursor so that you see it, that it maps to your thumb, and it kind of like encourages you to push all the way, because it's actually easier to aim when things are all the way rather than just like with little notches. So there's been a lot of that, a lot of first finding the system exactly how it works behind the scene, and two, communicate to the player how it works and what's the best way to do that. So it's been one of the nightmares of this development. Unfortunately, we did not plan to spend time on that at all. Gael, do you want to add to that?
No, I think you said everything, and then the player will we have, of course we will explain to the player the aiming system and all the possibilities he has, but he will have as well to be curious and explore the world. So we're not going, we're not like flashing things in the world saying, hey, it's a trap, hey, it's something like this. He will have to experiment, and I like this idea of encouraging player to find things, and apparently if he tries something, this could work in the game. That's what it is.
That was my favorite part of immersive sims, and I mentioned it earlier. It's like being in that environment, looking at something and kind of asking yourself, can I do that? And it's the best feeling in the world when the game does let you do that. So I'm very excited to try it out. All right, let's take another question. This one is from Twitter, from good grief, I fell 2873042. There are quite a few. There are quite a few of those. Not the snappiest username I've ever heard, but I guess you'll never get mixed up with anyone else. We talked a little bit earlier about older games isometric games that have inspired the team. So Ivan asks, which modern isometric games did you look at for research? 7 Days Long Gone was what I immediately thought of when I saw the trailer, especially with how close the camera is.
Yeah, and we looked at depending what we were working on. I mean, during the aiming problem, we were looking at a lot of twin stick and banging our heads against walls. But after that, I think there's obviously some similarities. I'm sure, I've never met the people from Divinity Original Sins, but I'm sure we share some passions about simulating worlds and having a lot of agency on your environment. And so there, we did look a little bit at that too. It's games that, a lot of us have enjoyed in the past, even though it's a very, very different take, because our stuff is all real time. Can you think about anything, Gael, other games of that kind of like perspective that we've looked at?
Don't remember immediately. No, not now.
Yeah, I think mostly the ones. Yeah, we work too hard and we don't play hard enough.
I was gonna say, especially in lockdown, when you take your work home, I imagine there's been a lot of late nights, just everyone just working away trying to fix the guns and the twin stick. Another question from Twitter. This is from Bart90401762. Who thought of the name Weird West and why?
You know why I'm doing half.
Yeah.
Well, it's one of the partners, and some obscure reason I can't name him. But it's, we wanted to have Weird West in the name somehow. Like I think at first it started with Bounty Hunters of the Weird West, and then the story evolved. It was not about just a bounty hunter anymore. So, and then someone said, like, why not just Weird West? And we're like, yeah, why not? And so that's how it happens.
They also had a follow-up, which was, do fire horses or fire motorbikes appear in the game? Brackets, like in the movie Ghost Rider.
I'll take that one. Yes, that completely happened within the first 12 minutes.
Easter egg idea right there. Free from Twitter.
It's a little secret. Consider putting an egg in the mailbox. We'll see what happens.
Hey, but that said, you can put horses on fire.
Yeah, you can set the horses on fire. I don't recommend it.
Yeah,
from like a moral standpoint.
It's not nice, but yeah, you could.
I was gonna say.
You'd have meat then,
Yeah. But do you deserve that meat at that point? Not really.
No, that's guilty meat.
Yeah.
I mean, there's that lovely Twitter account. Can you pet the dog? I don't think there is an equivalent. Can you set the horse on fire?
Can you set the horse on fire?
I think you can pet the horse. Can you pet the dog? I hope so.
Yeah, you can pet the dog.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Otherwise we have to edit. I mean, that's the thing about, games that hinge on a lot of simulation is that we let you do a lot of stuff, including, in a way, moral stuff. So it might, some weird stuff might happen just by combination of systems. Not that we encourage that, but yeah, burning a horse.
I have to say, like, this is a weird thing to mention, but such a minute little detail. But the sounds for like petting all the animals was oddly complicated to get working.
Really?
I was like, yes, it was like really, it's so systemic because there's different ways that the classes work and the AI works. And I just wanted, if you like pet a pig, I wanted to go like oink oink or whatever, but like a thanks buddy kind of oink.
Yeah.
And yeah, really tough, like really oddly hard to do. Anyway.
Wait, so what happens if the pig man pets a pig? Is there a kind of kinship there? Is it a different sound?
It is actually. I'm glad you asked that, Lucy. Yeah, it's more of like it's like the psychic communication sound.
Oh,
so where you can sort of understand each other,
like a gentle hum.
Yeah, I think it's essentially like miss you. Okay.
Miss you.
Wish you were here, Lilas.
Please don't set me on fire.
Yeah, exactly.
Eric Malkovin from Twitter asks, how much does choice and consequence play a part in game direction and NPC interaction and player agency?
Well, we have different layers of those. We have some that are authored where, there's a quest which you might have predefined different ways to address it, right? Like you will collaborate with a person, or instead you will betray them, and so all this is authored, and there's a consequence to that. And then we have like the more kind of simulation-y consequences where you might attack someone because you want their gold or something, or because you meet a merchant and you go like, well, it's just me and him. I might as well try to shoot him. And if you do that, and maybe the other merchant manages to flee, then it creates an enemy, right? A dynamic enemy that will get back at you at some point. So those are that's another layer of consequences. And then your reputation is another layer of consequences. And then the systems in general, the fact that trespassing is part of the justice system. Sorry, I'm mumbling right now, but so it's basically justice, systemic stuff and pre-authored stuff.
I have a question. So when we were looking at the gameplay earlier, you did sort of answer this one. So I'll add something onto the end of it. Oscar from Facebook asked, like all of Raf's other games, can we resolve quests in various ways? You talked about that earlier, but my question to kind of add on to Oscar's is, in a game where you offer the player so much freedom, how do you safeguard that they won't lock themselves out of the rest of the game?
Yeah, we try to, and at this stage of development, we're still testing all that and still finding bugs left and right, because I mean, not gonna lie, this is a deep game. There's a lot of systems and there's a lot of ways. All this richness that we offer to people, they come with a cost, which is we have to test it a lot and find fallbacks and ways so that the game always falls back on its feet. And so yeah, it's hard, super hard, and we're paying the price right now. Many hours, but hopefully for your own enjoyment. I mean, these are games like even our first game, like my personal first game, which was Arx Fatalis. You could kill absolutely everyone. You could close yourself behind places, etc. And there was always a way out, which probably was extremely satisfying for people who were stuck in that weird situation where they go, like, how did I get there? Or like maybe they went there deliberately because they wanted to test the game. And most of the time there was a way out. So it creates some like weird, on one hand it creates anxiety to the player, right? Because they're like, oh, I hope I'm not screwing up anything for myself. But on the other side, it also creates that tension, that sense of things are real here. I gotta behave. I gotta make sure that I do the right things because like the game is watching, and it's like if I kill the wrong person, or it will still work, but I like that personally as a player. I don't like protected experiences, and I think that weight that they bring, that limit between anxiety and excitement is really part of the experience. It's an intangible. It's hard to put that on a box, on the back of a box, bring tension, but I think it's real. It's there. It's part of that. Every time you do something, you go like, should I take this object, or am I going to piss off someone around me? It does add that.
Gael, I'm going to come to you for this one first, because I think this is one that you can definitely speak to. At Where Animate from Twitter asks, are there any examples of unintentional solutions as a result of emergent gameplay that surprised you during development?
Yeah, actually there are multiple, and I remember some crazy moments where in action or exploration I got a mix of systems bringing to me unusual situations. If people are following news about the game, they know about like weather and tornadoes, for example, that can happen anytime on stormy weather, windy weather, and the weather actually has a strong impact in the game, and it can change the way you play. So if it starts raining, then you cannot use anymore the fire, but electricity, lightning, which is one of the energy source of our game, will become very important. Tornadoes will take elemental properties of what they take, so it could create another strong system, and you can end up having, we saw during the demo an unexpected ghost, for example, and this is, we're really honest here, this is some things that exist in the world, we'll have to tweak, but I had some great examples of what can happen with those in some situations. I cannot tell more than that, otherwise I will get some secrets here. But yeah, it can happen, and it happened as well with what Raf said about the vendetta system. The fact that you can, if someone is fleeing because you killed a gang leader, for example, it will trigger a vendetta at you, and it can come back in some like unexpected situations where you were confident, or and suddenly things can happen like this. Low reputations means bounty, and locations are also coherent in the way of evolving. So if you kill anyone in the location, everyone, for example, you can't do it, this location will become abandoned, and we are not respawning magically everyone just if you come back. It just will become abandoned, and another faction can come. And if you had a quest in this town, for example, this quest could become more difficult because the new faction and some weird factions are change drastically the way you explore a town and how visual it is. So it could also change your playthrough and the way you adapt.
I was going to say, you definitely got my interest when you said that hurricanes can take on the elemental properties there. Does that happen? I know you would talk about like the world exists when you're not there. Is it, possibly 0.001% chance that a natural disaster could just kind of kill a lot of people in your game and it wasn't even your fault?
So in the early stages, you would have things like that, like the hurricane coming to